Today we will hear from Black Americans responding to more crazy disrespect from an African woman. Check it out.
Happy Black History Month to everyone except the foundational Black Americans. I hate you niggas. I hate you niggas. Let's die. Ooh. If I could gather all of you in one place with a strap to my chest, you know what time it is. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna blow up the spot. More like me. I'm doing society a favor. But yeah, everybody else, happy Black History Month.
We know what time it is. Actually, no, I don't know what time it is. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit further, because I'm thinking that me and you are not on the same time. I'm thinking you're not on the same time that we are. Because you know what's interesting is that people will label FBA, Foundational Black American. They will literally label that as a hate group, make it seem like we're the equivalent of some type of KKK or the other group. But yet you won't find any foundational Black Americans making these types of threats to other groups. And we might talk some shit on some funny shit because we're the kings and queens of roasting, right? But you're not going to catch us making these types of threats to kaboom anybody or to unalive anybody. And there have been no crimes committed in the name of FBA, by the way, too. But yet this girl went online and just felt very comfortable threatening an entire racial group of people and said, happy Black History Month to everybody except the only people that Black History Month is supposed to be celebrating, which is the only people who actually contributed anything to American society to make it into what it is, which is the foundational Black Americans, the freedmen, the lineage. Our lineage are our people. That's who foundational Black Americans are. The ones who you said that you won't wish a happy Black History Month. The only people who actually did anything for this country that were Black. Okay. So I just find that very interesting. People can be so comfortable being disrespectful and just in a joking way, like it's just a joke. I mean, she just showed up like a boss bitch. Like, I'm just gonna say this evil thing about this group of people. Obviously, she's not a foundational Black American. She took her video down, but still, people had screenshot her what the flag that was in her bio, and obviously, she's not from here. So maybe she just feels some type of way about the foundational title. Maybe she feels some type of way about foundational Black American people. Maybe she feels intimidated by us. Maybe she feels like, I don't know what she feels like. I'm not going to try to speak for her, but I think she spoke enough. But you know what? Just make sure y'all paying attention, right? Just pay attention, because motherfuckers apologize when it's too late. But they always show you their true colors the first time. Believe them the first time.
I'm going to simplify this for people. The only reason why they're giving FBAs a hard time, especially when it comes to delineation, is because people want to continuously keep infiltrating and keep extracting from it. Stay mad, ho.
Hey man, enough is enough. A lot of you Africans, Nigerians, and other Black folks that's part of the diaspora, y'all come over to America and then disrespect us and say we have no culture, but then you benefiting from our culture. What is wrong with y'all, fam? Like, stop disrespecting us. And then y'all wonder why Black folks have collectively decided that, hey, we don't have any allies, and with everything that's going on in the country, we mind our own Black business. All right? We sitting down. We get disrespected by every single person. And then y'all come over here acting like the white man to us, telling us how we can't feel and what we can't say and all those. Nah, bro, y'all out y'all goddamn mind. But then y'all get mad when people decide to, Black Americans decide to be FBA, Foundational Black American. It is Black Americans that fought for y'all, for y'all to even have the rights that y'all have. All right, y'all leave y'all country, come over here and then disrespect us. But we supposed to be kumbaya? We supposed to be the same people? We all Black. Let's get along and tag along. Nah, F that, bro. All right? Stop disrespecting us. Stop saying we have no culture. Why y'all keep coming over here? Why y'all keep coming over here and then disrespecting us? But then when some stuff going down, y'all want us to hold hands and kumbaya. Let's all just get along. Nah, bro. Nah. Now we done with that, bro. That's why black folks in America have no allies. We are on our own. And I stand 10 toes down on what I'm saying. If you got a problem with it, I don't care. Stitch the video. Do whatever you want with it. I don't care. I'm tired of this. Every day y'all saying something crazy about it. I'm coming across a whole bunch of videos. Y'all just steadily disrespecting us. Nah, bro. We not the same.
Delineation is working. It's making people uncomfortable. And that's actually how you know it's doing what it's supposed to do. Delineation ain't hatred. It's self-definition, something that every group does. And that clarity really unsettles them because they've benefited from the confusion. And what really scares folks is this lineage uniting. That unity is powerful. And it's why people are trying so hard to pressure us and pull us into other people's battles. But not every fight is our fight. We deserve to put our full energy into ourselves, into our people, into our culture, into our lineage, into our community, into our future. And what's wild is we see the effects of delineation everywhere. In media, in policy conversations, on television, on social media. The world is responding. The most impactful part is that this came from a non-action, from boundary setting and self-definition, from simply saying, this is our thing. You know, many groups have already delineated. We're just refining our code and getting clearer by the day. So stay encouraged, keep moving with intention. And remember, delineation isn't slowing us down. It's strengthening us. It's protecting us. It's keeping us on code. It's doing exactly what it was meant to do. Delineation is moving us forward on our terms.
This is why FBA exists, because of tethers. You see what I'm saying? These people have come over here for the sole reason of tethering. You know what I mean? To the black community, to us, to the foundational black Americans. They wouldn't be able to do nothing that they doing if it wasn't for us. You get what I'm saying? Now they here, they done got a little money in their pocket. Now their true colors are showing. You get what I'm saying? And this is why they hate FBA, because that's one thing they can't tell the wrong to. You can't tell the wrong to our lineage, ho. You understand what I'm saying? Like, your lineage is your lineage. You know, you can copy our clothes, you can copy our accent, but that lineage, baby, oh, no. You know what I'm saying? You didn't build this country, bitch. No matter how much you say that shit in your head, everybody knows you don't go back to the beginning of this country. And FBA says that loud and clear. You feel me, family? So this is why they mad. This is why they hate the sound of FBA. You know what I mean? Because they can't tell it no more. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny, you know what I mean? Because we can't tether on to shit that they doing. You know what I mean? They just, y'all still part of the African diaspora. Not really, because we can't get shit out of Africa. You know what I mean? If we was a part of the black diaspora, we would go over to we would be able to go to Africa, get land, get everything, not be charged extra prices, none of that. You know what I mean? But they do that because we foreigners. They know we different, and that's okay. You feel me, family? That's okay. But we gonna let you know your ass is different just as much when you come here. Because you immigrants, and that's something that we do not have in common, baby. You understand? So family, y'all, we gonna remind their ass every time we come on this goddamn app.
This message is for continental Africans, and I want you to hear me well when I say this. A lot of you make the statement about black people and you not being the same, and I will agree with you on that. Oftentimes that comes in light of you trying to police African Americans on how to deal with the political landscape that we live in, on how we should deal with the history of this nation and the history that this nation has when it comes down to black and brown people. It seems to me that you come from this idealized cultural superiority. You say to us that we don't know where we come from, or that we have no culture, or we have no remembrance of African culture, and you're correct. Because while you have the luxury of still being a part of the continent of Africa and having traditions that were handed down to you from your ancestors who still remained on the continent, we did not. We share ancestry, yes. But the difference between us is that while you were able to maintain yours, we had to learn and adapt and create a culture out of shattered memories and stolen lives and trauma that we inherited through the transatlantic slave trade. So don't come preaching to us about your Africanism, because that's not us. We're not that. We never claimed to be, and we don't want to be. Because even without all of that, and without the authority of being from the continent, we were able to forge our own culture, our own identities, out of what was already taken from us, what was whipped out of us, what was beaten out of us, what was sold out of us. We were able to build ourselves and our culture that now influences the entire world. Now you have the opportunity to stand with us, learn from us, and back us up when it comes down to some of the injustices that happens to us in this nation. But if you choose to come from a place in which you think you are culturally or morally superior because you were able to keep your identities, your cultures, your heritage, and everything else, then we kindly ask you to move out of our ways. Because if you're not fighting with us, you're fighting against us. And we don't need that. So if you can't speak in favor of the people that come from the same people as you, then we ask you to move out of our way. Because we don't need you. We got us. Handle your work and we'll handle ours.
Colonization of Africa didn't just steal land and resources, it destroyed the African mindset. That damage didn't end when the colonizers left. It followed Africans psychologically, culturally, and socially right into the modern world. Reading The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams makes this painfully clear. Colonization trained Africans to see themselves through European eyes, to distrust their own history, leadership, spirituality, and even their own people. European powers intentionally dismantled African unity by elevating certain tribes, languages, and religions over others. They replaced African systems with European education, European religion, and European definitions of civilization. Over generations, this created a mindset of dependency, inferiority, and survival under whiteness rather than resistance to it. That psychological conditioning is still present today. This is why many Africans come to America, and instead of aligning with foundational Black Americans who built Black political power here through blood, struggle, and sacrifice, they often team up with white supremacy, repeating its talking points, disrespecting Black American history, and questioning Black American identity. They weren't taught the truth about slavery in America, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, or how Black Americans forced civil rights into existence. Instead, many learned Western propaganda that paints Black Americans as lazy, violent, or cultureless. What's often missed is that this behavior isn't random. It's colonial programming. Colonization rewarded proximity to whiteness and punished resistance. Even today, immigration systems, media narratives, and economic incentives still encourage Africans to distance themselves from Black Americans to gain acceptance. That divide is profitable for white supremacy. Chancellor Williams warned that a people disconnected from their history become easy to control. When many of these immigrants arrive in the United States, they often carry a completely distorted view of Black Americans, shaped by colonial influence, media stereotypes, and even teachings from their own families. Since the 1980s, this ignorance has too often translated into open disrespect. Many African and Caribbean parents have told their children not to associate with Black Americans, labeling us as lazy, criminal, or unmotivated. Meanwhile, they conveniently enjoy the rights, culture, and foundation that FBAs fought and bled for during centuries of struggle in this country. During the 1980s and 1990s, many of the older FBA generations extended hospitality, but instead of returning that energy, too many immigrants looked down on the very people who paved the way for their opportunities. Back then, Our elders didn't always check that behavior the way they should have, either out of politeness or a hope for unity. But times have changed. The younger generation of FBAs is no longer staying silent. They're educated, unapologetic, and rooted in their identity. They're correcting the lies and checking the disrespect. And now that the pushback is happening, some immigrants are in shock. They're not used to Black Americans standing their ground, so they start throwing out false equivalences, comparing FBAs who speak up to white supremacists. That's gaslighting at its finest. It's a manipulative tactic used to avoid accountability and ignore the fact that some of the worst anti-Blackness comes from within the diaspora itself. The foundational Black American, FBA movement is a growing cultural and political movement rooted in the lineage of Black people in the United States who are descendants of those enslaved during chattel slavery. These are the men, women, and children who built America from the ground up, literally. FBA is not about division, but about specificity. It's about honoring a unique and often overlooked lineage within the Black diaspora, the people whose blood, sweat, and tears laid the very foundation of this country. From slavery to Reconstruction to Jim Crow to the Civil Rights Movement and beyond, foundational Black Americans have consistently been on the front lines of the fight for justice, not just for themselves, but for all Black people who later came to America seeking opportunity. The FBA movement was born out of necessity, as many freedmen Black Americans began to notice a troubling pattern. Despite decades of trying to embrace Pan-Africanism and unite with Black immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America, many foundational Black Americans found themselves being rejected by those very groups. Many Black immigrants were taught by their parents to stay away from akatas, a derogatory term some use for African Americans, to not associate with native Black Americans, and even to deny their Blackness, preferring to identify solely by their nationality. They were often indoctrinated with anti-Black American stereotypes passed down from colonial governments or influenced by global white supremacy. This rejection was eye-opening and disappointing, especially since it came from people who shared skin color and African ancestry. But worse than rejection was the erasure. Many Black immigrants took full advantage of the gains that foundational Black Americans fought and died for, without acknowledging the people who made those gains possible. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, affirmative action, access to education, housing, and job protections. None of these would exist without the sacrifices of FBA icons like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Fannie Lou Hamer, and Medgar Evers. And yet, many of these Black immigrants benefited from the blood spilled on Southern soil, while looking down on the very people who made it possible. Some even went so far as to assimilate into whiteness, copying Eurocentric behaviors and values to gain proximity to white acceptance, all while mocking or ignoring the cultural legacy of Black Americans. Meanwhile, foundational Black Americans didn't assimilate. We created our own culture, our own music, food, fashion, language, and resistance, from scratch, under conditions no human being should have endured. From jazz and blues to hip-hop, from soul food to street slang, American Black culture is FBA culture. Now, in the age of political instability and rising racism, especially under the shadow of leaders like Donald Trump, some of these same immigrant groups want to suddenly unify with FBAs. They want to form alliances now because they see that white supremacy doesn't distinguish between Black immigrant and Black American when it comes to oppression. But unity cannot be based on fear alone. Real unity comes from respect. And to become a protected class in America, there must be proper classification, a clear understanding of who is who and what historical lineage is being recognized. FBA is not anti-immigrant, it's pro-truth. It's about making sure the contributions of our ancestors are not stolen or ignored. We are the originators of the fight for Black rights in this country. We carved out space in America against all odds. That deserves respect. If Black immigrants want to truly unite, then step one is to acknowledge the trail that was blazed before they arrived, by people who had no choice but to be here, yet still found a way to shape the soul of a nation. Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information in this video informative. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks for watching.